The room went silent the moment Captain Briggs's fist connected with her jaw. The sharp crack echoed off the steel walls of the training hangar, and for a second, even the air seemed to stop moving. Lieutenant Tessa Cole stumbled back, tasting iron, her vision swimming not from weakness, but from the shock that her commanding officer had just hit her. The men standing nearby froze, their faces pale, torn between discipline and disbelief. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. Tessa had always known the Navy was a battlefield long before the bullets flew. She'd fought to earn her place, the first woman to qualify for advanced tactical instruction alongside the SEALs. She'd endured sleepless nights, broken bones, and whispers that she didn't belong. But nothing prepared her for this, being struck by the very man sworn to lead with honor. Captain Briggs had always hated her quiet confidence. To him it was defiance. To her it was survival. That morning, she decorrected a critical misstep in his mission briefing, a small mistake that could cost lives. He didn't like being corrected, especially not in front of the men. And when pride and rage collided, his hand did what his mouth couldn't. The crew shifted uneasily as Tessa straightened. Blood on her lip, but her eyes cold and steady. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't even speak. She just stared at him, and for a moment, the captain's bravado faltered. Out, she turned, and walked out, the sound of her boots echoing through the corridor like a promise. That night, Tessa sat alone on the pier, the sea wind stinging her cheek where he'd struck her. She could have reported him. She knew the channels. But she also knew how the system worked. It'll ruin your career, they'd whisper. You'll never make it past this base. And yet, she couldn't let it go. She wasn't just fighting for herself, she was fighting for every woman who'd been told to stay quiet and move on. The stars above reflected off the black water, steady and patient. She took a deep breath. All right, she whispered. You want to see what a Navy SEAL can do? Fine. The next morning, the base went on high alert. A covert training exercise had been announced by command, a simulation meant to test leadership under pressure. To everyone's surprise, Tessa was assigned as team leader. Briggs, furious but bound by orders, was forced to participate as her second. The mission was simple: infiltrate the training compound, retrieve the objective, and extract within 2 hours. But Tessa had a plan, one that would test more than just her skills. As the operation began, Tessa's team moved like shadows through the woods. Every step was deliberate, every command clear. Briggs, used to giving orders, grew impatient. You're moving too slow, he hissed. We need to push forward. Tessa didn't flinch. Speed without control gets people killed, she replied quietly. Minutes later, Briggs charged ahead, ignoring her command, and triggered a hidden alarm. Floodlights snapped on, alarms blared, and simulated gunfire tore through the air. The team ducked for cover, hearts pounding. As his voice cut through the chaos, calm, firm, unshaken. Delta flank right. Echo, cover fire. Briggs on me. He hesitated, stunned by her composure, but instinct took over. Together, they moved her, guiding him through maneuvers he'd never expected her to know. Precision, control, discipline. She was leading him now. Not out of rank, but respect earned in the crucible of survival. They reached the target building, breath ragged, adrenaline high. Tessa retrieved the objective and turned to Briggs. Mission complete, she said, handing it to him. Now you see why we don't rush. The silence that followed was heavier than any reprimand. When they returned to base, the evaluators were already waiting. The results were undeniable. Tessa's team had outperformed every other unit. Her strategy, her timing, her leadership, flawless. Captain Briggs stood before the Admiral, jaw tight. He couldn't look her in the eye. He knew what he'd done, and now everyone else did too. There was no report, no public accusation. Just truth, unfolding in plain sight. That evening the captain found her again, this time not with arrogance, but regret. Lieutenant Cole, he said quietly, I was wrong. She looked at him, calm and steady as the tide. You didn't hit a woman that day, Captain, she said. Hit a Navy SEAL. For a moment he had no words. He simply nodded, turned, and walked away. Smaller somehow, not from punishment, but from shame. Weeks later, Tessa's promotion came through. She didn't celebrate loudly. She didn't post, didn't brag. just folded her new uniform neatly and slipped it into her locker. Because real power doesn't roar. It moves quietly like the sea before a storm, like the strength it takes to stand after being struck. She thought she'd lost her honor that day. She was wrong. She'd just proven what true honor looks like. Because courage doesn't shout, it endures. And strength isn't what you show the world. It's what you refuse to let the world take from you. If this story touched you, let me know in the comments. And if you believe courage deserves a voice, hit that subscribe button. Stories like this remind us, no act of quiet strength ever goes unseen.